GM fellas, so we obviously talked to you right as Mint was closing, and it was absolute pandemonium. 97,000 plus packs. Like, you're sitting there saying, are we going to get to 25K? Selfishly was hoping maybe for a little less. I didn't pull any Popkins, but I'm also going to probably buy some today. I was showing them to my family. They're super cute. What has the past week felt like? It has been, I'm sure, a whirlwind. I'm sure it's flown by. Talk about the past week in the world of Claynosaurz and how it feels seeing the timeline actually celebrate a novel mechanic and some cool things you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, dude. It's like seeing everybody celebrate a novel mechanic. It is a source of pride for us. It's sort of part of our DNA at Claynosaurz is to do things differently and to kind of like always take the perspective of zooming out, trying to think of like where can the space head or where is it going, and kind of skating where the puck is headed. And every time it works out, feels great, obviously. And yeah, it's been a wild week, starting from, weeks ago, really. It's like if anybody's ever been through a mint internally, it is an absolute like storm internally and externally. There's so many things to kind of coordinate together. I've got Plap with me, who's been there since the very beginning of the Claynosaurz journey. One of the guys that got me into crypto, actually, and we grew up together. And so he's a veteran of mints, but this one was absolute bonkers, because there were so many moving pieces. Of course, we're exploring a new chain, so that comes with certain hurdles. We're doing our first ever major expansion, which for many people at the beginning was like, okay, like, does that make sense? And I was like, well, guys, look, it does. You're going to see why. And then TV show gets announced, video game is about to come out. We'll release a slew of storyboards and all the kind of things that we're thinking about Popkins. The achievement system is out and being bolstered. That comes into play for all of our collectibles. So, there's an ecosystem that's being built out. And that was the whole point of the thesis, is that we want to put people in a situation where collectors collect. Like, they want to line up for the next drop. And the next drop is part of the staking system. And the next drop is part of the lore. But above and beyond everything, it's a gamified collector's experience, akin to what you see like when Pop Mart drops a new collectible and people line up for it, and that was the whole point of this, and it worked out pretty well.
Clap, would love your point of view on that. I mean, a new chain, first of all, a chain that isn't probably the biggest mint, I would assume, ever on their chain. I think it's. I'm just gonna go ahead and say they could fill the largest college football stadiums with the amount of people who minted. Probably the highest mint ever. So massive numbers. What's it like going through your head when you're like, okay, we're trying to think, like, was the chain part nervous a little bit? It seemed to work out pretty well, but there's like one of the things we talk about is the tech barrier to entry here sometimes. And I'm like, okay, so I need to get USDC from Solana, then I need to flip it over to SWI, and then I need to buy it here, and then I need to get SWI on the secondary market, which has been a vibrant secondary market. So one, talk about the new chain. And then two, like, I guess, like, give me the perspective of like, that relief of like, okay, like, I'm sure that the chain themselves is pretty happy with you, right? Like, you pick a partner, it's probably important to have the partner happy, right, Plap?
Oh, absolutely. And to talk a little bit to what Nick was talking about there, it's our second big mint. We did the first one in 2022, a week after the FTX collapse. And it was the same kind of sentiment, right? Sol was kind of at an all-time low. It was at, $10, $11. And we weren't sure we were going to sell out. We had the confidence in ourselves, but we weren't sure that the market sentiment was there and that it was the right timing. But we'd been building this for a little over a year then, right? Solana was having some issues with the tech, with the chain itself. Magic Eden was still somewhat new. They're absolute all-stars, and that the platform now is arguably flawless. But back then we still had big mints that were, not working. They would crash the chain. They wouldn't have secondary. So there were still a lot of those external factors that would play into a mint and the general sentiment on your very first day of launching a product. So we had that a bit of experience. We did the whitelist there, a little bit different. We had some one-of-one auctions. We always try to innovate and not just do status quo. Not that there's anything wrong with the current methods out there, but we try to innovate and try and do things a little bit different. So we have a little bit of experience with that, but it was 2 years ago. A lot has changed since then. The market conditions are a lot different. And of course, in true Claynosaurz fashion, the second mint was a week after CETUS, which was pretty funny after everything with FTX. I know a lot of people were negatively affected with both, so I don't mean to joke about it. But internally, we were definitely like, wow, our mint luck is definitely not there. The mint day itself, I think, went very well. You know, we started off, we sold the 25,000 packs day one in the first 24 hours, which again was in all of our minds just like, oh my God, right?
13 hours, I think. I think by midnight, we had sold out the first 25K packs and we busted past that.
Absolutely. And our biggest thing here was, you know, for our holders, we're trying to bring on new users here, right? We've got the Solana native people. Again, you know, for the Claynosaurz OG mint, we went chain agnostic up until, you know, 2 weeks before we launched so that we could try to bring people in regardless of chain, right? I'm here for this NFT. I'm here for this project. I believe in Cab. I believe in Plab. I believe in this team. I don't care where they're minting because I'm here for them, right? I don't care if someone's headquarters is in Montreal or in New York. I believe in the company, and that's why I'm investing. That's why I'm taking the chance on them. And that's what we wanted to do. So we tried to do something similar here, although, you know, everybody knew we were going to be on Sui, but we marketed to Ethereum maxis, Sol maxis, you know, Arbitrum, AVAX, Bitcoin, everything to try to bring people in to what we're building and not where we currently are. So there definitely were, after the packs sold out, a few minor hiccups here. We stress tested the site for, you know, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 transactions in the first hour. We ended up with 1.5 million. And this is after the packs are already bought, right? So we've got 100,000 packs out there, or just under. We've got some legendary, we've got some escape packs, and we had 1.5 million transactions in the first hour. So, you know, the network, everything wasn't quite prepared for that because it's 15x of everybody opening it in the first hour. So there were a few little minor hurdles there. Our RPC, which we had the absolute top level of RPC, was overloaded. We had, you know, a couple thousand NFTs stuck in a queue, but we worked through that. The Sui team, the Tradeport team, Miston Labs, Tusky, absolutely everybody has been phenomenal through this. So while I will say, you know, Sui is not quite as advanced as Solana, they're still somewhat nascent. The teams are definitely not inexperienced. These guys are absolute all-stars. Every problem we've had a full team of devs on it for, you know, hours until it's solved, and they very quickly figure that out.
I look at this and like, I feel like these are the green shoots coming from the garden here, finally, where y'all have done things in a way that, you know, we've always been a fan of. It's very aligned with our values in here. We're not as much like, what's the next scheme to get the person to do the next thing? Rather, hey, what are some innovative things we can do? What are some real brands we can build? Putting out a cartoon series with a major property, putting out a game series with a major property, high effort in your art, high effort in your mints, thoughtful cross-chain mechanics, seeing stuff like that. The Rect sale, seeing what happened with that, where it's like, oh my God, people are redeeming a product. Like, this is what gets us excited. So I think we see these green shoots. My only beef, which I have one beef with you guys, is that my plan was I was going to buy a Clayno after the drop, because surely you were going to drop by 50% on your floor price, and I was going to get something. You're up from your floor price, and that is a mistake on my part. It was a misjudgment in the market. I've been looking to get a Stego for God, I don't know how long. I am not a rich man, so I'm just figuring out, okay, how do I get this? How do I get this? And I'm like, all right, this is perfect. They're dropping a secondary collection. So what's going to happen? We're going to see this thing drop by half, and I'm going to be able to get one. And then they'll go back up, and it'll be all great, but I'm going to get a great entry point. Not the case. Are you surprised by that? I know floor price talk is sometimes a bit of a faux pas, but were you guys surprised to see the floor up after mid? Like, what's going on here? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, not a single time.
Not surprised, relieved. If you saw Andrew's, our CEO's big post on where he thinks the NFT space is headed, as far as collectibles are concerned, there's outliers like punks that really represent, like, you know, everything Web3 and they have that provenance, and punks are punks. But for other collections that are based on IP expansion, this was always the way. Not just capsule collections after the original collections, but expansionary collections are actually what drive demand long term to the original collectibles. Otherwise, you're not growing. It's almost like a saying like, okay, like when Pop Vinyl was doing their thing. Well, they still are, but Funko Pop, that's like saying like the only thing that they should have is the first collectible they ever release. How could you possibly drive demand if you don't have that ongoing banner space that's being spread across different shelves? And that was basically the thesis in a nutshell, and it worked out pretty well. Popkins was a bit of a surprise when we announced it, but over time, everybody understood. Oh my God, like I think this is actually the way. It drove excess demand back to the original collectibles. Of course, TV show timing, announcement timing was amazing as well. And we have so much stuff that are going on. So I think that everybody's starting to understand that we mean business, that we're here to change things, and that will be one of the greats as far as IPs that come out of the woodwork from the Web3 story, and just kind of change the game. Even from a raffling system, we're looking at like, well, what's Adidas doing? What's Pop Mart doing? And what would they want to do that they can't possibly do right now? And it's transparent raffling systems and the death of the queue system, which is kind of what the point of this type of mint was, where you can drive demand towards a collectible drop. You do not have to wait in line. Everybody can get into this, and if you don't get that raffle, you get bonuses for participating, but you get your money back instantly, which is something that Web2 can't pull off.
The death of the queue system is a banger. That's actually a great way of putting it, because I think that's one of the things that frustrates people, and they just want it to be easier. They just want it to be more seamless, and they want it to be provable and verifiably fair. And I think that's what we got here. So that's awesome. And again, like the way one thing connects to another in this space, and then I'm going to pull up because I want to rip some packs and we'll explain the mechanics to people a little bit. But, Dort said, bro, I went Laudio 1 week ago, and this week I have a dope Clayno and a cute Popkin for basically a 0.02 pre-sale LFG. It's like the way this space connects to one thing or other, why I don't tend to criticize people who are farming or doing things, is people like Dort, who he's a collector. He did Laudio to get a little bit of that airdrop and that top 1,000. He claimed that, and he immediately rolled that back into the ecosystem, and now he's living large in the Clayno ecosystem. So you love to see that sort of thing. Congrats to Dort out there, and love seeing people getting in the Clayno world. And I am now in the Clayno ecosystem. Finally, I did rip one pack just to kind of go through the experience. So I wanted to put
Let's go. What did you think of the website? So again, dude, you know this, like in 3 years and even pre-mint, like the whole thing that we do at Clayno is like as try hard as possible, but it is to build experiences that we're not 100% there yet. Obviously, it's tough to build on chain, but it's to build experiences and a product that is always built for Web2 consumers, or at least is heading there. Because the theory is like, you don't want to just build to the Web3 meta from a design POV and all that kind of stuff. You got to build, whether it's the characters or the content, whether it's the UX, you got to think about like, well, if I was actually trying to put this up in a real store or put this up on the Steam store or whatever, would it be accepted by normies? Is that something that they want to participate in? And if you build it for that audience where the bar is actually substantially higher, then your product is just going to be good and you're just going to stick out. And so, the website is awesome. Jack and the team and Will, everybody absolutely crushed it. And we can go through that later, but I know you're streaming, so it's like a good opportunity to take people through this Mint website. I think it's one of the best Mint sites out there.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job with it. I actually had this commentary. So I've been like sitting on my hands because I'm like always afraid to put my work out in the wild. It gives me anxiety. I'm sure that's like probably resonates you at a little bit of a bigger stage with the Mint.
You must have been an artist in a past life.
Yeah. It is like, well, I mean, like I put out a book, it did well. Like I'm great, it did well. It ended up being a bestseller. But when you put it out, you're like, what if nobody buys or reads this? And like, I spent a year and a half working with like a major publisher on something that doesn't even exist in the wild. And it's like, I've been writing these long form articles about the space. And one of them is actually about the idea that if our Web3 experiences don't mirror the Web2 experiences, if we're only talking to the audience that's here, then we're not going to have escape velocity out of this space. Like, you need to have things that have a Web 2 bar. Web 3 can't be the selling point. It needs to be an additive thing to what you are doing. And I have a whole piece about whether it's the over financialized mechanics or whether it's the tech barrier. I'm working on a tech barrier article right now, which is like, talking about what you need to do with layer 2s and those opportunities. So very much agree with that on the Mint site. And the Mint site was great. It worked really well. It was easy to use. Here you can see the site. I opened one pack, very seamless. It has my items. I got a sticker coming in. Good sounds. Obviously get a pack, get some packs, get some Popkins here, and you have sort of your 3 packs. So let's get to nuts and bolts, because there is a lot of complexity to this, so people understand sort of the complexities of it. So I only have the escape packs. Boo-hoo, I'll get some pity points. But there is the Popkins Unleashed. There's the sort of 2 separate packs, the legendary packs, and I believe this is the Popkins pack themselves. Talk about the 3 types of packs and what people are looking at. If they look at this dashboard and they've got one of each, what would they be getting out of each before we rip open mine? Okay,
so Sash, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So I'll go in, I guess, chronological order here. So all the way on the right, we see the Rat Pack. And again, going back to what I said previously in the call, we always try to do things a little bit differently. Cab coming from the animation and entertainment industry, a big part of what we've always tried to do is make people feel something, right? Rather than just having, okay, I kind of vibe with this, I like it, and it's going to sit there, and hopefully, someday I'm going to sell it and make money. Okay, great, that works for some projects, but for us as an entertainment company, first, we want to make sure that we can bring people along for the ride with us. So the Rat Packs was in 2023, we gave out booster packs in real life with an NFC chip. For people who are not familiar with this, similar to a QR code, but you tap it and it brings you to a website. The website allowed you to mint one of the rats, or a pizza at the time, because we were in New York. So we had the pizzas for a year, nothing happened. People were wondering what it was. Cab started leaking, these are going to turn into rats. Okay, how's the rat going to come in? We're going to have companion characters. That's kind of cool. And then we ended up launching the Popkins. So when we launched the Popkins, you could then change your pizza for a rat. There's only 650 of them, so the rare species in there. So that's the blue one. The one all the way on the left, the escape pack, was our fun way of trying to make losers winners. And when I say losers, not in the traditional, like, oh, you're a loser, but like, you didn't get a Popkin, right? So you got a raffle pack, you spend your $200, you get 100% of that back. We covered the mint, so people didn't lose 5 cents, 10 cents. You got your full $200 back. If you didn't get a Popkin, you got an escape pack, and that's the one all the way on the left. The escape pack, what's in there is the potential to win an egg, which will turn into an in-game asset when our game launches in October later this year. If you're not familiar with that, that is going to be built by Gameloft. They do some absolutely incredible games, including Asphalt, Assassin's Creed Mobile, some of the Avengers, really, really top games. So that's going to be an in-game asset. You also have the possibility to get one of the escape cards. And the idea here was having, the biggest loser. So if people lose in the sense of they didn't get their Popkin, they have the potential to get one of these 10 escape cards. They have varying drop rates from 30% down to 2%, and they're soulbound. So you can't trade these. You can't buy some from someone else. You can't get them OTC. They are truly in your wallet. So if you have all 10 of those, you will have eventually a badge in our achievement system, and you'll be able to always say, I was one of the biggest losers. In addition to that, on the leaderboard, the pity points, and we called them pity points or escape points because we pity you for not getting the Popkin. The top 50 will win a Claynosaurz, an OG Claynosaurz, so the ones on Solana. And these are not just any ones. These are ones we minted day one. They've never left the vault. They've never interacted with a marketplace, with a protocol, with a lending system, true virgin NFTs. And we've got some of our most coveted NFTs in there, Charcoal Mist, etc. And the center one is, the reason why we're all here, the Popkins. So the center pack, if you open that, it's called a legendary pack. You're guaranteed to receive a Popkin, but you don't know what that is. This rarity system and the actual randomization is done all on chain, which is different, than some of the mints we've done in the pack, which is why there is that slight delay. So we have to call on a database. We have to input, a randomization or random number generator, find your Popkin and send it to you. So this takes, anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds, depending on your system. We also then have a batch system. We understand there are a lot of whales out there. Myself, I've been slowly accumulating Claynosaurz over time, and I'm up to 124. And I won't say we designed the system for me because that would be selfish, but for everybody out there who has more than 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 Claynosaurz, to sit there and open the packs can be a little repetitive. Some people want to just get it over with. So that's the run through of those 3 packs. No matter what you're opening, it's a lot of fun. And again, you can win other things than just the Popkin there. So everybody truly is a winner.
Yeah, it's fun. I think now here's the one question I was trying to figure out. Is there a way to actually get the packs? Because when I was looking at the packs, it doesn't look like any are actually listed for sale. Like, I actually wanted to get a legendary pack for today to open it. Looks like people are not even listing for sale. Or you mentioned soulbound on the you mentioned the soulbound nature of the escape packs. That way people are kind of selling their escape packs as fugazi sort of confusing legendaries. But are legendaries buyable on secondary, or are those actually soulbound as well?
So that's a great question. So the legendaries will be buyable. And yesterday, when we had our little bit of a delay, we were supposed to go on stream. What we were actually solving for was exactly this. So on Sui, you have something called a kiosk, where there is an indexer in the kiosk. The NFTs currently are locked in there. So when we think about on Solana PNFTs or Ethereum, we had certain marketplaces enforcing royalties. This was Sui's way of doing this as well. Once an NFT is in your kiosk, the only way you can transfer that without the project's pre-written approval in the NFT is to interact with a marketplace. So what happened here was, because we had NFTs that were minted and indexed, 1 to 97,500, and then we wanted to turn those into packs, and then those packs turned into NFTs. There was a last minute issue with the indexing between the pack and the second pack and the NFT, where the kiosks were separate and not talking to each other. So we, at the moment, have that locked, but we are working with various developer teams who are absolute all-stars in the Sui ecosystem to get those tradable in the next, hopefully, 24 to 48 hours.
I like it's got to feel good saying index 1 to 97,500. That look, I saw a little smile go across your face as you were saying that. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I want to say that, like, this, the experience has sound, all that kind of stuff. Like Sasha says, in layman's terms, the legendary booster packs will go on secondary very soon. So you can list unopened Popkin packs. And then maybe after this, if you weren't able to pick up a legendary pack, Plap can also stream on his side and show you guys like burst mode, or opening like a single pack and then opening burst mode, because we needed to solve for, like, hey, if people want to have a lot of packs and they want to open a lot of them at the same time, what does that look like?
Yeah, I saw somebody who completed their sort of sets of stickers with I think it was like they had opened like 250 of 300 packs or something.
Yeah. So memory shards is what we call them, and we'll do more of that. Like, if you're following the Claynosaurz ecosystem, there are going to be ways for you to get soulbound collectibles. And guys, we're in Web3. Soulbound collectibles. You can also trade all that kind of stuff. Any digital in our ecosystem, more often than not can lead to things like tokens when the time is right, or other things. It's a way for us to track and reward either assets or collectors as well. And everything ports into our achievement system. The Popkins themselves are staking units as soon as the doors are open for staking. So
I'll be getting some. All right, let's rip a couple of these packs just to show it, and then Plap, we'll give you the share in a minute too, and we'll get you on there just to show how to open sort of a legendary pack to make me jealous, and I will very much be down for that. But let's go through this. Like you said, it's got sound, it's got animation. I'm going to open some packs right now, and you're going to tell me what it is I'm receiving. So right now, again, site's really cool. There's the burst mode, as you mentioned, up there. It's got all my wallet and all my informations. It has what I have pulled down here so far. This adorable little fellow, which, by the way, bonus points that everything is cute as somebody with a 13-year-old and actually now 11-year-old. It is great to see. I said now 11-year-old as if I just acquired my son. He just turned 11, by the way. So
it was a grail.
Yeah. Like I ran pure. He's really good. All right, let's open this sucker up and see what we get. I'm going to stop here because I got to load my wallet back in here. My bad. That's the one thing about the Phantom Wallet is it constantly logs you out.
Why Steve's doing that, Cab? I personally love the dome this morning, but we do have some requests. Diego is asking, where's the beanie? Your signature beanie. He's missing it.
Cab with hat.
Diego definitely would ask. I'll put it on.
Like I said, we'll see if I get my EX here. All right, we will confirm. I may have screwed up my own animation lag here, by the way, the way I did the site, so we'll see. I may have messed this one up myself because I just relogged in my my Phantom wallet. Yeah, let's do this. Let's Cap, I don't know if you are logged in with your deal. I'm going to try this.
I just don't know if you'll hear the music. Can you hear when I go, it's playing on the TV behind me. Can you guys hear it?
Here, I got it. Let me try one more time. Because I want to rip these in. I want to
see everything now.
There we go. Now we're good. And so I click on it. This is the cool part. And we do a little. We got an explosion. I got some pity points. So I just got pity points out of this one. So I just got my pity points. So out of that one, I'm going to open another one, but explain the pity points for people who maybe don't understand what those are.
Sure. So the pity points were our way. If we're having a raffle, the two, options are you don't win, right? You buy a lottery ticket, you don't win, too bad, rip it up, throw it away. Don't throw it on the street, don't create trash. In this case, we wanted to say, okay, if you don't win the Popkin, you can still have fun. So we released the Clay and Claymaker collections in 2022 in January with the idea that people would select their classes. And we kind of felt bad at a certain point that we were saying, okay, well, we're collecting royalties on these, but it was more for people to have fun and have an eventual use case in the app that they can have, different benefits from their different class. So we said, why don't we turn off the royalties and use some of those royalties to sweep Claynos? So we picked up some Claynos, we had some in the vault, and we said, let's give those back. So we were trying to figure out what is the best way, what is the most fair way that we can reward our loyal followers, our loyal community members who have been with us for a long time. So we spoke about, okay, maybe we could do something with the achievement system, or we could do something here to try to incentivize, 97,500. Pretty damn cool, right? So if you lose, you get pity points. And after this, I can show you on my screen or yours, but there's a leaderboard for the people with the most pity points. And the top 50 people on that leaderboard, we're most likely going to let that run for the rest of this month to let people open as many packs as they want. And if you want to keep a couple just for provenance, people are still opening Pokemon cards, you can do that, but you got the vast majority, right? And at the end of that month, once we have that final 50, biggest losers, everybody on that gets an OG Clayno.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the mechanics here. I'll rip my last two, and then I want to give it over to you to show us the burst mode and sort of the other pieces. I'm going to put music back on because it's adorable. The other thing I like about this is so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cryptoys, but Cryptoys had a great pack opening experience. This feels quite similar to the Cryptoys experience, where it's like, it's not just like you click it and it's like, here's what you got. There's some movement to it. I could click on it once and it's like, oh, okay, that's not doing much. I really got a force click here.
There's also story elements. So I don't know if you can find one, but if you get a escape pack, if you get an escape card, I don't know if you noticed it when you found one, but like the escape Popkin, it kind of like comes at you, laughs at you, and then like goes away. All of it was like from like a storytelling POV, because the whole point is these Popkins are mischievous.
Indeed. By the way, so I got the egg, so that's good news. That egg means that something in the game in October is going to be coming my way, right? Like, or there's going to be a relationship to that, which gets me super excited to think about. So I don't know. I'm pretty pumped. I have opened my 4 packs. I now am sitting on a couple of eggs, so that's good news. which will be something in the game. I've got these
and
guys.
those, yeah. So the cool thing about the eggs is normally, like, as you know, or hopefully you do, the game that we're building with Gameloft, the mobile game, it is a consumer facing game. So most people will start the game with an egg. They can hatch their Clayno, and they can over time collect other Claynos, but they have the ability to purchase eggs because otherwise it's on a long timer, right? And so the eggs that you guys are getting are stuff that normies would normally have to pay for.
That's awesome. I love that. So that's a nice little freebie. I got my pity points. Again, totally adorable. So before I hand it over to kind of rip some of these other packs and we'll do a screen share there. What is my optimal collecting strategy here? Do people I know people like to collect herds, so should I be looking for herds? Okay. How many species are there? Or should I be looking for something specifically? Like, what do you think the optimal collecting strategy is? Because I'm definitely going to buy at least a couple of these guys.
Okay, I'll give you some secrets. So you see at the bottom right, you have a number 5138. Bottom right, yeah, in that list. Oh, the last one on the list. This guy, yeah, that one, blue one.
Oh, blue one. This guy.
If
yeah.
you click this guy.
Oop, no, it went away real quick.
It went
Sorry,
away.
my bad.
Actually, there's one in your main
Here we
screen.
go. Got him.
Yeah,
yep.
Cool. So if you see the red eyelids, that's a secret trait. The only reason the eyelids are red is because the stripe on his nose is red. There's a few fins like that. So we threw a slew of secret traits across the board that are not in the metadata. You just have to find them. So that's kind of like there's a chaser system for diehard collectors. And over time, the more they find the secret traits, the more we're going to compile everything, and then we're gonna kind of add it to like a master collectors ecosystem poster, and show off the niches. But you're right. On the Clayno side, one of the biggest ways to collect is to create a herd, whether that means one of each species, or one of each species in the same colors, or one of each species in the same patterns but different colors, or like a super herd, which is one of each species in the same pattern, same color, same background, same animation clip, all that kind of stuff, are different ways that you can collect. And there's tiers, there's unlocks. You can, in our achievement system, you can also have like a species centric achievement. So it's like if you get one of the species, you get you have points. If you get 5 of the same species, you have points, and so forth. So that's a way to become like a certain species maxis. But the whole point is that there's like a slew of achievements that are tied to the way in which you collect. I would suggest that if you're someone that wants a whole herd, that's the way to go. And the easiest one is like, well, one of each species. And aside from that, I'm not too worried about like colors and whatever. But most collectors, they're going to find the color and the style that they like, and they're going to attempt to find the exact same SKU in the different species, including the amount of layers. You can go full layer where all the patterns and the details are on the character, or one like this, which is a little bit simpler where not all the layers are there. The grails are oftentimes something called 0 layers, which means it's like considered like a naked Clayno. But aside from that, you find your niche. These are all the special like rares or misprints or stuff like that. We wanted to like throw in a little bit of the joke of like what it looks like before it's properly on camera, or like the backstage approach of what it looks like in the 3D software. But yeah, there's so many ways to collect these things. So I would say you either find a species you like and you become a maxi, or you try to build these herds. Although for the Popkins, we're not calling them herds. We're calling them pods or clusters. The official name will be refined soon, but so let's call them pods for now. And all of that is gonna be included in the achievement systems.
Muted, Steve.
I said I love that. I love rarity being included in there. By the way, someone must have been listening to us, because you mentioned this one, which was above floor, or the other one that was above floor with the red islands had no idea being bought. And then all I'm like, well, I better live buy this one, and it was gone.
So that whole species in that specific pattern has the same thing. When we built the original Claynos, we had a misprint happen, and they became Crimson Clan, which is charcoal or black dinos that have like a red underbelly. And that became a sub DAO for the snarlfin species of the pattern with the stripe on its nose. You've got like green eyelids, you have red eyelids. We kind of threw that in there to have fun. They're considered misprints because they're not supposed, the eyelids are supposed to be the normal skin color, but instead they're the stripe color. So it was kind of like a way to have a non-metadata trait in there. And we threw, it's not just those guys, it's like, it's across all the species. There's some secret traits that you have to find.
Are the little guys something special? Because I feel like the little guys,
They're so cute.
Is there like a metadata piece about the little guys? I didn't see it in the middle data, the metadata that it was a witty bitty guy.
Yeah, so you'll see their shape. You've got base, you have wide, and you have tall. There's different animations for each body shape, but essentially each Popkins has 3 possible overall body shape. It could be squashed and short, it could be long and tall and skinny, or it could be just like your default base model. And then there's all these different mutations. So again, collectors are going to start to kind of run the show here and understand what they like, what they want most. That's going to include like different mutations or like subtraits, like types of ears, whiskers, feathers, all that kind of stuff. And then which body shapes are the most sought after. Oftentimes that has to do with stats, but what we've experienced on the Claynosaurz side is it actually has to do with the ones that speak to people, and then they create sub-DAOs around them.
I am shape size base wide, but I'm working on fixing that at the moment as a personal note. But Plap, let's do this. If you want to share on your screen, you can just go to the share screen at the bottom there and present, and make sure you share a Chrome tab, not an entire window, because then it'll be, sharing all your MetaMask and all that other stuff, or your Phantom or whatever it is. So go to share and share a tab, and maybe let's rip a couple legendaries to see how people see what that experience is like. Maybe batch a couple just to give people the the full on experience as they go. And let me know if you need help setting all that stuff up. But I'm looking at Claynosaurz, the Popkins, because I've been thinking about again, I'm thinking about whether I want to buy a couple that are matching or how I want to do it. I'm definitely going to get into the legendary pack game because I love a good lottery. So assuming that they are not too wildly out of whack, we'll do that. But yeah, let's rip some of these suckers.
All right. So, Steve, sorry to do this on live stream, but I have a couple more packs here. I'm obviously a big Claynosaurz supporter and big whale, being a part of the team and believing in what we're doing. So I had 331 escape cards that I did open up, so I can show people the leaderboard before we do that. And this is not to flex or anything like that, but we've got the leaderboard with all the pity points, and we added this cool feature, and people can actually run, how lucky someone is. For example, here, I opened 333 packs. I've got just under 1,700, and the person below me actually opened 400 and has a little bit left. So there is a little bit of luck there within the luck, right? So on the opening side, I've opened up my one rat. I've opened up my my escape packs. We've got our items here, so people can go in and see all of their items that they have opened. My one Popkin and my one rat so far.
Those rats are great, by the way. The rats are so cute.
They're so cute. I love them. I've got all my escape cards. I've got all my eggs, and then you've got your leaderboard ranking here. On the pack side, so I'll open. Oh, it's opening up. Another tab. I opened the wrong one. Here, let me go back and do it from here. So I'm going to open up this guy. I have the wrong wallet connected. Nope, there we go. It's not, how do I do this? It's asking me to verify a transaction, but not giving me the button because I'm on screen.
Chris, you're on what?
Because I'm on sharing.
Okay, so maybe just unshare, get to the booster pack, and then share again.
Yeah, once you're doing it, because we've seen the pack open process. So go ahead and get one open there, and once I'll watch, and once it's ready.
Perfect.
So also, are eggs tradable?
No, so eggs are soulbound. Again, digital's in our ecosystem though. But they're soulbound, and as soon as the game alpha, actually, I don't know if it'll be included in the alpha, most likely. When that's released, then you guys can start redeeming stuff in game.
Which I love to hear. All right, so I've got my 10 packs here. Again, find my transaction. So we've got a couple really cool ones. I love this one with the little blue stripe here. I've got the yellow eye variation. I've got another little red stripe here, which is pretty cool. And then a couple of charcoals with a couple eggs just to throw those in as well. I can do another one on here. I'll open them up and hopefully I pull something really rare.
Let's show single mode on the legendary packs.
Perfect. I'll do that as well.
It's such a fun thing. And again, this is part of what I liked about, I mean, look, like one of the things NBA Top Shot got absolutely right was the pack opening experience of you've got the music, you've got the packs, you open the packs, it's mystery. Which one are you clicking? And then you would click and get that moment open and it would be epic. So I think like that's one of the things that I think gets lost in this space is people fail to think. And one of the things that I love about this experience you built is it is an end-to-end user experience, thinking about the person who is buying, not thinking about, okay, we sold, we're good. You know, the war is won, we're all finished. It's the opposite of that. It's, oh no, we sold, now it begins. And I think that makes it really fun.
Exactly. And that's one thing we've always tried to do. Again, with the initial mint, we minted end of November. And then by January, we airdropped, the clay maker. February, we were in Paris giving out croissant NFC chips. And then we were in LA and New York. There was always something going on to keep the community involved and keep them engaged in what we're doing. All right, so we've got a single pack here. So this one will be similar to the escape pack where we get to choose which one we want to open. One escaped, two escaped. Ooh, that's a good one. So Steve, to answer your question earlier, we have some people who like to collect like this, where rather than having, okay, I've got a charcoal, a dark one with kind of the greenish yellow nose, and I'm going to get one of each species. We actually had some people in the original collection and with Popkins we've already seen on Twitter who then try to get all of the dodos that look like this to try to either corner the market or they just really like it and they want to have that one. So it's really up to you. And that's what I think makes Claynosaurz in particular so much fun to collect there's no proper way to do it. It's whatever speaks to you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. To me, it's far more effective than me trying to collect all of the Lou Dort cards on NBA Top Shot. It's a little bit more fun, a little bit more whimsical. And instead of like you said, cornering the market per se, it's, where, actually doing and collecting the things we want to collect. Yes, there are probably strategies that go along with that. But when I see people with herds or people collecting it, it's like for me and for my money, I am shopping on some species basis here. So I don't know. I have a lot of decision. I will say I'm getting analysis paralysis because I like them all in different ways. And I'm definitely going to get a couple packs and want to save my sweet to give myself a chance to rip something pretty cool. But I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and let's see what
what it comes down to is there are like thousands and thousands of combinations. Get the one that makes you smile. If you're gonna find a keeper for yourself, these are collectibles. We're gonna do all the things that we normally do at Claynosaurz with these things. So get the one that just like speaks to you.
Yeah, love that.
And then after that, deep dive.
That's what's gonna happen. And again, like I'm probably gonna get one of these little pterodactyl mini type looking guys, although they're more like little stingrays, or I don't even know.
Yeah, they're modeled after like prehistoric stingrays. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm probably gonna do is my son has I'm trying to look for a match because my son has a stingray and that came with a baby stingray. So like, and he's had it since we went to like Atlantis in the Bahamas, like years and years ago on a family vacation. So what I'm probably going to do, and we named him Ray and Baby Ray. And actually my dog is obsessed with Baby Ray. We can put Baby Ray like, in the crust of the earth and my dog will dig it out and find Baby Ray. It's like one of those things, even though it's not his. And so I will probably get myself a Ray and Baby Ray at the very least, just for that purposes of that tie in there, and then go shopping around for some more. But definitely gonna look for some Lego packs, legendary packs, when I get to this, get to the secondary market. Look, I appreciate both you coming on bright and early with us as I look for my matching Ray and Baby Ray on this thing.
See, I don't know if you can see the stage. It's been acting finicky. Raheem was up earlier, didn't even see it at all, had a hand up. We do have Machiavelli on stage.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if the guys have time for a question. And a lot of love on the jingle. I agree with Justin. in the chat said that I think both of us now have the catchy jingle stuck in our head for the remainder of the day. He says listening into the background and that jingle is super catchy. Feeling it's going to be on repeat in my head all day. I agree. Well done.
If you've seen the Popkins trailer, the full length trailer, that song is we're refining it, but it is most likely the Claynosaurz theme song.
I'm just waiting for it to be like the next version comes out and you're like, and we have a collaboration, and it comes out, it's like do Mr. Worldwide, and just like Pitbull comes in and just starts being, got the Clayno rap going. But Machiavelli, I know you had a question here. Go ahead and get in, Machiavelli. Jam.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. What an experience. This has been a great experience. Question on the mutations real quick, because I'm trying to build my little situation. What is the difference between the alpha, the beta, and the gamma, or the three different mutations?
It's on a per species basis. It's kind of like a global name. Otherwise, in the drop-down menus, when you're filtering in marketplaces, you would have had like just a bajillion filters to go through. So each species has three master mutations. On the example of the stingrays, it's a little bit of the tail shape, but it's mostly what do their ears look like. They either have no ears, they have little cat ears, or they have like antenna type ears. And in the case of the fins, it's the shape of the back.
So on the squibs, what is the
Yeah.
biggest baddest squib? Is that the squib with the little horns around it?
So the squibs, they're the one species that's actually different. What they lack is body shape. They're essentially all the body shape, the same kind of like size, and you're collecting seashells. So that's the distinction. There's five of them.
Oh yeah, the shell's a little bit different. I see that. That looks awesome.
Yeah, there's 5 different types of shells to chase. They all have their rarity traits. Sasha, I don't know if you can point out which is the rarest shell. I think it's the star.
I'll just double check right now.
Don't point it out. Don't say anything else.
All right. It's by the way, some collector posters are going to go out at some point soon, dude. So I think within the next week you'll have like some of the niche stats and like this big Giga collector's poster.
Yeah,
you got time.
Yeah, that's the other one I actually like. I think the squib is actually one of my faves because it feels like the most different on them. But they all have their own merit. Like dodos are fun for their kind of like dopiness. Like the Lumaray are like sitting there with their big smiling. Like I can hear like a tiny little kid's voice.
So cute. They're so cute. Yeah.
I can hear the voice in like a Pixar movie of like what that squib sounds like. Like you can hear it. It's just it's awesome. So.
And then for the squibs, like the ethos was like, well, dude, like we all remember collecting seashells. Let's do it digitally.
Yeah, it does have that vibe to it. And right now, again, like, for sort of like the sweet, if you're looking at like the sweet price, like I know these $200 packs, they're going just a little bit under mint for people. So you can get them, less expensive than you would have gotten a pack on some of them, which is like perfectly normal. And obviously the rares are going a little bit higher. So they're still in that range where it's like, if you got refunded, you can get yourself one if that's what you wanted, right? A lot of people are saying like, don't refund me. Well, you do have the opportunity to still get one now that you can love. And again, what I like about things is I'm always aesthetics over rarity guy. I think you did a really good job on the high rare ones because I was showing those earlier, but find something you vibe with. If you're into it, jump in. Look, it's not something that's going to rug tomorrow. I feel pretty safe about where Claynos are going. If you're building a game and you're building a series and you're building a collector score and you're putting this much effort in and you just sold 97,500 packs, feels like you're probably going to be around for a hot minute. So it feels like a safe one to be like, you know what? This collectible isn't going to have the metadata scrubbed and turn into image not found anytime soon.
We are going to be around for more than a hot minute. There are some huge things coming up for Claynos, and this year is a little bit bonkers. Like you say, the TV show just got announced. We celebrate that at the NSC Festival next week. That is basically the Cannes Film Festival for animation. We have the biggest public event happening on the Wednesday next week. That'll be onboarding over 1,000, students, creatives, and we've got a slew of executives showing up to that, to the private part of that party. And the whole thing with Claynos is we're building, one of the next franchises, and it's going to be a story that comes from Web3, and that's the goal. So for sure, we're not going anywhere.
That's awesome. Well, look, I looking forward to seeing what you build next. Anything else that we maybe didn't hit on that you want to make sure everybody knows who's listening? We showed the mechanics. We got through sort of the different packs you got. We've gone through some of the species. Anything we missed on this that you want to make sure we hit on before we let you all get out of here? And you've been so generous with your time. We very much appreciate it.
I think that's everything for me.
Yeah. Okay. For me, it's just a reinforcement of every digital across all of our ecosystems ties together, obviously through the achievement system, eventually through staking, and eventually through more. And the whole point is to build yourself a sort of collector's catalog as a collector, obviously. And to build your collector's profile over time, and all that has repercussions in the ecosystem. And so that's probably the last piece of alpha I'll give you guys. And then look for the ones that you like, build your herds, have fun, and we've got amazing collectors in the ecosystem that are more than willing to help. I'm going to give a shout out to Swivel Jaw because he's basically the matchmaker. If you ever have collectors questions, you go talk to Swivel. And yeah, thank you for having us, man. It's been a wild week, and it's going to be a wild couple months as well.
No, appreciate both of you, and thank you for jumping on. Thanks for generous with your time, and thanks for always reaching out when you have something going on. We love having you on here, and it's like we love talking about the Claynos. You guys restore faith in humanity in Web3, so thank you so much.
We'll give it a best shot.
Right on. Appreciate y'all.